brought at least water flowing in the same direction. That's all right, that's all right.
Did you say you was in Tennessee, Quincy?
Yeah.
I was over with you there.
And I hope you have fun.
All right, drop steps. Big thing.
I got to see what's.
Go down, walk around,
Hey, you
go
were
again.
just telling me about
Pick
that.
up 2 times.
Pretty good show.
Remember, focus on that quick step, up and down, quick step, up and down. You don't have to cover a lot of ground.
Where you been at, Sam? Or just cause I haven't been here?
No, I'll be going. Okay. Trip, the anniversary trip.
Everybody remember alligator crawls? We're here for,
You just got married?
we're getting warmed up. Alligator crawl. You know what a plank is? Right? Mix a plank and an army crawl. Right? Back and forth. Like an alligator. I can do it this way. There we go. Like an army crawl and a plank mixed together.
Okay, you don't like that one?
2 times.
Alright, make sure we do it
Go.
3 times. 3 times. You got any questions, man? What'd you say your name was again? Say again? Ulysses? Like the Ulysses?
Yeah.
Ulysses.
Yeah.
Okay. Any else okay? How old are you? 18? 34?
You want a 6-pack? We need back and forth across the room.
Hopefully we'll see you again. Like I said, you in here with your 3D shot, you know, you got questions, have fun and learn, man. Show up.
I guess so. Professor said 3 times. Get in charge.
Sam wanted it 3 times, Kate wanted, 3 times. When you were doing this, he was like, yeah. I was like, you like this? He said, yeah. I was like, oh, we'll do it 3 times. Don't blame me. Remember, we're here for you. Trying to meet y'all. I know you're gonna be gone for a few days, Kate. I want you to be excited, you know, like, can't wait to come back and use the alligator now again.
I love them.
Hey, we mess this up at work, we just how to do it.
All right, I think everybody's warmed up enough. We'll circle up, get started. You wanna be my practice dummy today? All right, so we're working mount. I'm sure a lot of professors' class when he's here, or Coach Mike's, they're gonna work from the bottom, so we're gonna work from the top. And go out here and go like smash.
I like the bottom.
So for me, mount, right, is getting to that position, right? We can drill and do 100 different things once I'm already in mount, right? But the harder part is actually getting
And for the
there.
record, I do have top game.
It's getting there, right? And so we're gonna work on transition into mount today. Thursday, once we get to mount, we'll work some more on control, because that's another difficult part, if you will, is getting to mount and then maintaining it, right? Staying there. Mount and back control are the 2 best positions there are in jiu-jitsu. So I should be good at those 2 positions. I shouldn't struggle to stay in mount. I should be able to get to that position and maintain that position. So today we're gonna focus on getting to mount, right? So the biggest defense is once I've passed, I'm in side control. This person starts to figure out I'm going to mount. What do they usually do? That leg comes up, right? Because they're like, I can bring this leg up, and now it makes it difficult to transition to mount. So I've got to do something with this leg, right? I'm going to use a grip on the ankle. So I've got my cross face grip, right? So I say cross face grip, I'm using my shoulder, right? You can see I'm making a grip. If I'm in the gi, obviously I can grab wherever. I like to grab behind, right, the armpit. There's that tendon that runs back there, makes a nice little anchor point. And then I can use that, almost like I'm rolling my shoulder, I can make a good cross face. That's why they call it that, right? So I'm gonna use my cross face position, and I'm gonna come back to that ankle, right? From here, I'm turning my hips, driving my hips towards, right? It seems like I'm going the wrong direction, but you're gonna see I'm gonna open this person up. So I'm using my hip against my partner's thigh and turning down sideways, right? So I've got I'm grabbing that ankle and I'm hip switching, right? Dropping my hip into that spot, right? I'm gonna drop it in front of my partner's knee until I hit their ribs, hit their side. Now from here, I'm gonna drive straight backwards. You can see I can open that position up, okay? Took that knee away. Now I'm still gonna keep that ankle. Now I can rewind. Now I can come up to a knee on belly position and work to mount, okay? So we're gonna work on getting to this knee on belly position, and then we'll see where we're at time-wise, because we have a little bit shorter class. Okay, so we're gonna start in side control. Our partner is gonna get that knee up to block, right? Even if they post on the leg, that ankle is always gonna be there, right? So I've got a good cross face, right? I get that ankle grip. I'm gonna turn my hip, and now I'm gonna drive. Right? I'm staying on my toes, okay? You guys are gonna be able to feel this. Some of you are gonna be trying to move on your knees. Your partner can tell the difference with the pressure, right? I wanna come up off my knees, and stay on my toes when I run towards their hips. Because that's gonna change. I'm gonna add a lot more pressure. Then I come back. Now I can work knee on belly. Okay? So we're just gonna work on getting that movement. Dropping my hips and running back towards. This is a good motion. I told you guys a couple minutes ago about getting some private lessons lately from Professor Mark. This is something that literally just got like 2 months ago that I've been focusing on, is running from side control, running towards their hips and getting them to turn. You can see how Coach Kylie turned right up to her side a little bit when I ran towards those hips, right? That exposes a lot of position. I can work to the back, I can work, opens up a lot of things when that person starts to turn up on that shoulder like that a little bit. So, does that make sense? All right, grab your partner. 1, 2, 3. Work it a few times, whatever, 4 or 5 times, then switch 4 or 5 times, back and forth. Focus on your pressure, right? Once you kind of get the movement down a little bit, I want that person on the bottom. You should be hearing them, right? When you're moving back and forth. Yeah, keep that ankle grip up, right?
Oh, keep it.
Yeah, I'm gonna flip it for this way, right? That way I'm pushing. Right, rather than, because if I have it this way, it's comfortable here, but once I extend out, it's not very strong anymore. You can pull that leg back, keep it, and it's gonna break that grip. Where if I'm here, I really don't care if you move his leg further out, that doesn't bother me. So then I can push on it, but then keep that grip as you come back, because if I let go, and I come back, he doesn't bring the leg back again.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna keep that grip, once I
Much better than the over.
come back.
Yeah.
Yep. Turn that hip down into when you're running around them. I can even use this from side control at times, so I think we used to hear. I don't even need that ankle grip. I can drop this hip. You just run sideways with my hip.
Okay.
But see how I'm dropping, almost staying at the hip.
This is a simple issue.
Yeah.
Using your hip, that kind of hip switch motion, back and forth from that side control position is real advantageous to help it maintain. Not even so much, I mean, I can go back and forth that way. A lot of times too, from side control, they're framing, right? I'm trying to position, like I'm trying to finish my pass, and they're framing here, right? And I'm struggling here, I can do that same thing, drop my hip, come in here.
Yeah.
And then okay, so using that, going from the switching back and forth, you're gonna find a lot of different ways to help open up that person from the
Unless you just, you
Or I'm just sit here.
That way you can kind of push that out. Yep. Because my grip is very, right, it's good here, right? But as I start to push out, it's not very hard this way, stretch and pull her leg back.
Yeah.
There's not very much this way, right? So, I'm gonna flip my grip this way, so I really don't care if she takes her leg further that way. That doesn't bother me. If I bring it here, this gives you.
Well, like, I don't want to put pressure on your hip, because,
got to.
well, I thought it was more like right here.
So first,
I'm.
get this leg stretched
Oh,
out.
okay.
And then I was right here.
Yeah.
I don't know. It might be on that side. They haven't brought it straight. So I don't.
That's in, well, then, I think it's for me to use my shoulder to kind of turn your head a little bit.
I know the first, is it April 4th? The first Friday? I think it's the 4th. There's, company here, he's gonna be in.
Your legs are longer than my arms. When I get here, we're gonna do like this guy.
Nobody else
Yeah.
wants to go. You gotta be a leg man.
You're not gonna out oblique me. My body will get faint.
He usually does things on Thursdays, Tuesdays and Thursdays, it doesn't happen on Fridays.
I'll do my best with some. Yeah, I'm just like, just to rotate off. Like it was going.
Almost kind of puts you in that.
Yeah.
That's
Just
not
that
normal.
right there.
Yeah, where you go like using a one plus six. I'll bring some, don't worry, I'll bring some back.
Especially if we
Alright,
were.
I'll give you guys about 2 more minutes, work back and forth, 2 more minutes.
Can I slide out to the side?
Yeah, there's a lot of options there, you can slide, like I said, if I get this leg that far over, I'm gonna probably bring my knee across the back of their hands here, and look to go straight, and look to go to mount, the knee hits the mat, and go to mount that way, yeah. Yep.
Yeah, we were kind of toying with that.
Yeah, it just depends, like I said, some of it's gonna kind of depend upon how that, because they may really fight aggressively to keep their hips on the mat, right, to keep, they may not turn this way, they may try to, you know, keep their, straighten that leg out and try to turn back towards the mat, and that's where they, you know, they open more knee on belly
Right.
position. So, some of it's gonna be kind of reading what that person, you know, how they react to defending, so.
Is that kind of,
I feel like
that a lot of people react
you
as
kind of walk
down?
onto your side. 'Cause
It's like that, like,
Yeah.
me, I'm gonna
I'm gonna try to poke and punch that.
knee, can't really do that, so I can get this knee back, is what. I would try if there's, but like I said, by applying, like, dropping that hip and turning towards it, right, there's pressure here, and now I'm not gonna be able to, as long as I can keep that pressure. So that's why I was talking about keeping that, turning that hip, and the hip motion so much, because now I'm taking that away, as long as I continue to keep that pressure there.
Oh, yeah, I'll bring some easies, but I don't.
Yeah.
So you know what you're saying. So you're gonna adjust your position as she starts to move, right?
Because they're not thinking about that, they just get out every time. They're not defending it super hard, you just like crushing it. Yeah, you just sneak it over.
This
Because
way,
they're trying to
this
send
in the
it
middle,
down.
let this not focus so much on this cross space, yeah, because I'm getting stretched out, right? I'm trying to stay here, either here, and here, and then I'm waiting back in. So as I start my feet in that direction, my cross face grip is finish one you're working on, and then let's circle back up. We're gonna kind of touch on a couple of details and add just a little bit more to it. Okay. So, pretty much everything that I'm gonna teach you guys, especially when it comes to passing and top control, is very pressure oriented. I mean, we need pressure from the top, but that's just how I tend to function and work. So, this person should feel a lot of pressure when you're turning and running that hip to hip, right? So I'm gonna kind of just point out a couple details, now that you guys have worked through the motion and stuff. So I'm focusing on really turning my hips, because my partner's focusing on this knee to elbow concept, right? Because she doesn't want me to pass, she doesn't want me to get to mount. With that structure there, I'm not really able to unless I do something about it, right? And just coming down flat doesn't do anything. So I've got to turn my hip, right? And I'm dropping my hip I'm dropping all the way down until I hit my partner. I'm laying on top of them, okay? And I know when I'm drilling through this, I'm on my knees, on my hips, but that's because I don't want to sit up on my partner for 3, 4, 5 minutes while I'm talking to you guys, because it gets heavy. So, but when I'm drilling this live, I want my pressure, I don't want anything on the mat except my feet, right? I want to think about pushing into my partner, right? Everybody knows what a bulldozer is, right? Think about being a bulldozer, I'm trying to push my partner. Because if I'm staying tight here and there's pressure here, what's the only direction that my partner can move? Away from me, right? So if I have that kind of bulldozer pressure and she tries to move away from me, I follow with her. Wherever she tries to turn, if she just tries to like knee to elbow scoot, right? I'm continuing to stay with. So that's why I want that kind of bulldozer pressure. Because if they try to move, I'm staying with them. Okay? And they're gonna get, right, I said this last week, I think it was last week, my partner on bottom is gonna get tired quicker than me on top, right? It takes, in my opinion, twice as much work to get up from the bottom as it does to maintain control on top, okay? So think about that, turning and dropping that hip and using that pressure, that kind of bulldozer pressure as I'm moving through this movement. So I get my grip, right? Because this grip here also helps me create some space for that hip. Because I can open that up a little bit. Now I have room for my hip. Now I'm turning, okay? I'm low to the mat. My leg, it depends upon what my partner, right? So now passing to mount. So depending upon what how my partner reacts, ultimately, yes, I would like to get them to turn onto their side because this gives me the most options, right? If I'm just going to focus on continuing to mount, this leg is just going to slide over. I'm just going to continue turning. Basically going from here, continue to turn, then coming over and trapping both those legs, and then working up to mount. Alright? But you may get your partner, they're thinking, I'm going to try to, they don't want to do that, so they're going to try to turn like they're trying to get that knee to elbow position back, right? So I start to turn and they flatten out, okay? So I still have this grip, and this is where now I can pin this grip, and now I can come back to that knee on belly position and work to mount from here, right? So coming to knee on belly and finishing the mount, think about your shin like a seat belt. I want to drive my knee across their belt line till my foot hits their hip, okay? That way I don't have to look, I can do it all by feel, so I can keep this top pressure, okay? That knee comes across, as soon as my foot hits, now I'm gonna open myself up, I'm gonna stretch myself out, I'm gonna push that leg down, and I'm gonna keep my grip, so I'm opening myself up by stretching them out. So you can see I'm getting on this far side. If you need to stand up and look, I'm getting this far side arm at the same time. Right? I talked about changing my grips and working in transition, getting that half step ahead, setting myself up for what's to come next. So I have my underhook, right? In this position, she has a pretty good frame, right? That knee comes across as I stretch. That turns it into, right, an advantageous grip, something I can work to set up. Got my head arm triangle is the first place I can go. It works, got a lot of different options that I can work with this arm right away. So in that transition to mount, I'm already looking to do something, setting myself up for the next step rather than just getting to mount. She's in here, now I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna mount, but now she has her position, and now we're really fighting to just maintain that mount position. So in that transition, I'm looking to set myself up for the next step. Okay, so those two, right, I wanna work to that knee on belly position and then finish to mount. So we can work through both of those options, whether we slide our hips across, right, they turn away, and I just keep turning. The knee comes over the top of the thigh, and I come right into mount. Or I'm working down, they start to try to knee elbow in. I get that knee on belly position. And work to mount from that way. Make sense? Alright, so we're gonna just work through those two options. 1, 2, 3. Here on bottom, this should be pretty uncomfortable. If it's not, the top person's not doing it right.
Thanks, man.
Keep yourself low, like your center of gravity low. Not necessarily have to stretch this. Turn away. Right, you start to try to swing that down. I don't have to try to stretch this leg out. All you do is just put his foot on the mat, right? Because now I'm not so far stretched out.
Yeah.
So he can't kick his leg, he can't kick that knee up to bring it back into the bend. So then I can't even bring that knee in, and I'm not stretched out. I'm gonna be stronger here, right? Because now everything will come through. Shoulder pad. Pretty loud. Yeah. I'm pretty wide wind tools, but even, trying to hold somebody's leg out, right? Your leg, it doesn't really matter how big, tall, short, or whatever, your leg's gonna be stronger than your arm. So just think more about pinning that foot to the mat. Because I'm just trying to keep his knee from going back up here. So by pinning there, I'm in a stronger position, and you can bring the knee back. And then I can say, I need pressure to come up, right? Now I'm driving that pressure onto him, which is even more. Remember, put that grip on the ankle, on the top. It feels a little awkward to start with,
Yeah.
but it's stronger as you get to where you need to be. Right? Because if you're trying to go to that knee on belly position, you just drive post straight down with that knee on.
Yeah.
Yep. Versus if your grip is the other way
Yeah, you can't.
and you're trying to hold that, he's probably gonna be able to get that foot out of there.
Yeah, I kinda like. I
Get done.
guess I wasn't trying. I was like, that's the, yeah.
Walk in there, Bo.
Good there, focus on that cross knee pressure. There you go.
Straight arm bar.
So you focus more on that cross face that time, that pressure up top, right? Because that limit is really for his shoulders, right? If his shoulders are gonna stay in one spot, his lower half can only go so far. It's like physically he can only turn so far before it just doesn't go anymore, right? But if I don't have good pressure here, so I've gotta focus on that second one. At least it looks like you really dropped that cross face. And that, he wasn't able to shoulders and pivot like he was the time before.
Okay, so focus more on what happened instead of.
Yeah, cause all this is trying to do, all I'm trying to do is.
Once you get that grip,
I'm just trying to
Pack
open
control
that up
grip.
right there. Okay, like,
you get hip to hip,
There's
get the
space.
angle grip.
right, here's the block, I'm
Pretty good, no matter what.
When you,
I'm moving this down.
Just stand up.
Now I'm gonna finish.
Once I stand
I
up.
don't have to get his legs, it's way out here. I just need to move this.
One
What I'm trying to do is move this knee.
It's like all the time.
This is my grip. So I go from here to here, and now the knee is moved. Now I have space that I'm looking for. Get used to really stretching. I know when we're drilling, well, when you get that knee on belly, really focus on stretching that leg down.
All the
You
way.
do too, once you'll feel the difference. Here, and I'm gonna establish my grip up here first. Right, I want this, just this gable grip, underhook and a gable grip. And now, cause even if you still have a good post under here, now I'm gonna stretch it all the way out. Now I'm gonna go, once you get the hand on.
That's what I wanted to do.
Don't rush so much, just get out, right? Cause you can feel when I was here and here,
cause I feel like when I'm on this bridge, I'm gonna.
right? Like, this knee's on the mat, what are you gonna do
I
from this
guess he did,
position?
he changed his.
So, there's no, but a lot of times when you get in such a hurry, right, we get here, and I try to throw this leg over, now there's room, right? So, hang out here, I mean, I can even work, I can finish my submission from here, not even technically go all the way along. Sorry, I didn't make you.
Slow quick.
Yeah, it's, neon buzz. It's good. I like it.
So I said, if you're on bottom, this should be on top.
And it's not even so much that, it's just,
Well, it's
up here, just,
Yeah, you're just in a position, you're just like, I don't
You
wanna
just
be
give
here,
your best.
just do something else, I don't
Yeah,
care.
just get
Yeah.
your breath.
Okay, once you guys start to learn your transitions from up top, once you have the shoulder, right, you transition in your arm bars and there's S mount and different high mount stuff, you'll feed right into all of this with that. I mean, it goes straight into why I'm keeping all this stuff. Stretching it all the way out. It's not like scoop all of this stuff.
Mm.
And now I have all that arms right here to do this, that, and whatever I want to. And I just, that's why I focus so much on making sure that those grips, that underhook, making sure that transition is good before I finish all the way to mount, or when I have that good control on top. With that seat belt and stretching them out, that's why I really focus on adjusting and tightening that grip, so that way when I go from there, I'm going right into.
So is that your game, especially with no-gi, you're going to scoop and get, like, pack those arms and get that grip?
Like, yeah, I'm always, I mean, if you, I don't know if you guys watch like IBJJF stuff,
Yeah.
all over YouTube, whatever, you watch the best guys in the world, they're doing arm bars and triangles. In some way, shape, or form, sometimes it's inside out, upside down, backwards, and you're like, what was that? It was just a freaking awesome arm bar. So, I mean, the best guys in the world are making it work, I think it's worth my time to give it a shot.
I guess that's what they do. Arm bar triangles, you're gonna get shoved in no-gi.
Yeah.
That's all they do, yeah.
Yep.
All they do.
I mean, there's lots of other stuff, but, I mean, like I said, there's, you look long enough, they'll pop up with different studies and stuff, you know, that they have like, you know, how many out of the last, you know, title fights have been, what submissions and stuff, and like 80% of them are like a rear naked choke, arm bar, or triangle, some version of those three. Mix in a few other things in there, but.
And then do we drill kind of those transitions decisions that kind of just come with.
Well, like I said, once you start to know where you're going, yeah, like to that, this literally is part of that private lesson that I got from Professor Mark 2 months ago. And we were drilling it all the way from the guard pass, right? I stand up in guard pass, side control, turn, like all the way, start all the way to finish to my submission. So yeah, once you get all the parts and pieces together, then it's repping it all the way through, because then you're building that muscle memory, so you already know where you're going next. From repping it over and over and over again, you're not having to, okay, I did a guard pass, you have to think about, okay, now what am I gonna do from here? But you drill things over and over again, so you just start to, yep. So yeah, for sure, yeah, definitely, once you have your 2 or 3 pieces, even all put together, you gotta drill them all the way through, all the way through, all the way through. Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you. Every day.
I mean, it's easy to, yeah, that was one thing I had to figure out, was focus on the rest.
Finish the one you're working on and then circle back up, see if anybody's got a question on it or something. So I know we had kind of a shorter class, but I think it was worth the time to go over what was said, so. Did anybody have a question? Well, while they're finished, did anybody have a question that you ran into? I know I stopped at most groups and kind of picked out a few things.
You made it look easier.
Well, it's, like I said, I meant exactly what I said, like this, I was talking to Colby and, I literally 2 months ago in January, I worked this on a private lesson with Professor Mark. There was a whole transition guard pass into side control, into mount, worked all the way through to a submission. But this piece on turning the hips and going to mount and stretching them out was literally part of that. Like I said, I just got that, focusing on that as a brown belt, so I'm trying to turn over some of those pieces to you guys. I mean, the pass to, the mount pass, part of going to mount isn't anything, you don't have to know a bunch of crazy jujitsu, right? It could be your first day and you can focus on those pieces. So once you get those pieces, that's when the submissions start coming easier, because you work so long on positional control, right? When you're a new practitioner and you see a submission, you're focusing on that submission, and now what usually happens, that person gets away because you lose control of the position, trying to, wrap around that arm or close that triangle up or something like that. But if you focus on these positions more so than you worry about a submission, then once you get control of your positions, the submissions start happening, and it almost is like you're not like you're trying, but it seems a whole lot easier. So if I could give, like I said, newer guys any advice, it would be don't focus so much on the submissions. I go to gyms and go to other places and find myself, I feel behind on submissions, but I don't ever struggle with control of my positions. And if it was a tournament or it was a street fight or it was anything, a full roll, I don't have to submit you in a 5-minute roll. I can control you the whole round, and you probably feel worse than if I just submitted you once during the roll and we were going back and forth, right? So focus on, those positions and control. How do I control side control? How do I control when I'm in mount, right? Rather than rush to mount and trying to scoop an arm and flip a leg over to get to that arm bar, because you're like, I'm not very good at controlling mount, so I'm gonna try to rush right through it. Because it may work for a little bit, but as soon as you continue to train or you run into somebody else who has trained longer, that you're gonna miss that arm bar again and again and again and again and again. And it's not gonna be because you're not good at arm bar or you don't know how arm bar works. It's gonna be because the mount control is terrible. So focus on your positions. Like I said, we're gonna keep building on this on Thursday. Have a little bit more time and keep working on that. All right, let's line up. Gotcha.